Hello everyone, I'm Mohammed Islam Shishir, and today I'm going to solve this problem called valid anagram. So this is a really easy problem from LeetCode, and in this problem we are going to get two strings S and T, and we have to determine whether the strings are anagrams or not. If they are anagrams, we have to return true as output. If they are not anagram, we have to return false as output. So first of all, let's see what anagram really means. What is anagram? Okay. Well, an anagram is a word or phrase formed by rearranging the letters of different word or phrase, typically using all the original letters exactly once. Okay. So that's the definition of it. To put it simply, we can say that if we had, okay, so in this case we have string S, which is rat, string T, which is tar, and rat can be rearranged as tar, like the T should be at first, A should be in the middle, and R should be at the end. That's pretty simple anyways. And tar can be rearranged as rat. So this is going to be an anagram. And one more thing is that if we sort the words or strings alphabetically, it's going to give us the same string. Like rat can be rearranged, sorted as art, and if we sort tar alphabetically, it's going to give us art. So if we sort both of the strings alphabetically, we are going to get the same string as a result. So that's going to be an anagram. So yeah, so the solution is like pretty simple and intuitive. We can say that if we sort both of the strings as dot begin, sorry about that, as dot begin, as dot end. Let's just do the same thing for T. So we sorted both of the strings. Now we have to see if both of the strings are the same string after sorting. So if both are same, we are going to return true, else we are going to return false. So yeah, this should work. Okay, this got accepted, and this is going to give us a boolean value, so we can just return this. Let's submit this code and see what happens. Okay, we can see that our code took 6 milliseconds to run, and it beats 25% of the solution of other people. So obviously this is not a very good solution. It could be better. So let's try to improve this code a little. Okay, let's say let's take this again. Okay, previously we saw that if we sort both of the strings alphabetically, we get art for both of them. But what if we had a Z at the end? Sorry, yeah, Z at the end. So now the sorted version would be arts, and these are not the same string, and that's not going to be an anagram. So for both strings to be an anagram, it's going to, like, both of the string is going to have to be of same length. If both of them are not of same length, it's not going to be an anagram, no matter how many times we sort it out. So we can just eliminate the strings which does not have the same length. T dot size. if s dot size not equals to t dot size, we are going to return false. Okay, that's going to improve this code a little bit, but still we have two sorting going on here. So it's going to take O of n log n, and this is also going to take n log n, and this is going to take O of n. So, but this is pretty negligible. We can say that the overall time complexity of the solution is O of n log n. But we can solve this problem in one for loop in one go in O of n time by using a hash map, or you can say a frequency mapper. So what we are going to do is that we are going to have one for loop, okay, and since both of the strings have the same length, because we are eliminating all the strings that have different lengths, so we're going to take one for loop and check both of the strings at the same time, and we are going to check the frequency of the characters. If the frequency of the characters are same, then we can say that it's going to be an anagram, and if they are not the same, then it's not an anagram. So let's see this example here. Okay, we have two examples here. For example 1, we have s. Okay, okay, we have s equals to rat and t equals to tar. So yeah, and we have this frequency mapper, which the key of the frequency mapper is going to be character type, and the value of the frequency mapper is going to be integer type. Okay, and let's say we have one for loop for this problem, and in that for loop we are checking each character of both of the strings. But what we are going to do is that when we add the value of each character inside the frequency mapper, for increment for string s, so we are going to add 1 to each character of s. If we have any, like if we encounter any character of s, we are going to add 1 to it, and if we encounter any character of t, we are going to subtract 1 from it. So like if we have r over here, we are going to add 1, and if we have r over here, we are going to subtract 1. So ultimately the result is going to be 0 if we have the same number of r in both of the strings, and if we have the same number of if we have the same number of characters of both in both of the strings, we can say that the like the length is similar, the character frequency is similar, so both of the strings must be an anagram to one another. Okay, let's just see the first example. In the first example we have rat, so string s has r, a and t, and string t has t, a and r. Okay, so on the first iteration, okay, we are at the first iteration of our for loop, let's say. So on the first iteration of our for loop, on index 0 for s, we get r as a character, so we are going to add 1 to it. So 0 plus 1 is equals to 1. Okay, and at index 0 for t, we get t, so we are going to subtract 1 from it. So 0 minus t, 0 minus 1 is going to be minus 1. Okay, going there. Let's just use a pen. So it's going to be -1. Okay. So the first iteration of our for loop is complete. We're going to go to the next iteration. At index 1 for s, we will get a, and we will add 1 to a. So it's going to be 1. Okay. And on the on index 1 for t, we are going to get a. So we are going to subtract 1 from a. So it's going to be 1 minus 1 is going to be 0. Okay. Okay. Now we move on to the next iteration of our for loop, which is index 2. So at index 2 for s, we will get t, and we will add 1 to t. So -1 plus 1 is going to be 0. Okay. So at index 2 for t, we will get r, and we will subtract 1 from r. So we had 1 previously. If we subtract 1, we will get 0. So as we can see that after we finished executing our for loop, the final value of each key in our frequency mapper is 0. So that tells us that both of the strings had same frequency of characters. So both of the strings must be an anagram. Okay, let's see the second example. Okay, I guess we're done here. Okay, let's just this is going to be no, this is going to be t, sorry, this is going to be c. Okay, so in our second example, we have rat and car. So rat for string s, car for string t. Okay, so we are going to do the same thing again. So increment for string s, decrement for string t. Okay, so initially everything is 0. So on the first iteration of our for loop, at index 0, we get r for string s, and we are going to add 1 to r. So it's going to be 1. Okay, at index 0 for t, we get c. So we will get a c here. How can I say that this is c? Okay, let's say this is a c. Okay, so we are going to subtract 1 from it. So initially it was 0. After subtracting 1, we are going to get -1. Now we will move on to our second iteration. At index 1, for string s, we get a, add 1 to a, it's going to be 1. And for string t, we're still going to get another a, subtract 1 from it, so we are going to get 1 minus 1, 0. Okay, now we move on to the third iteration, which is index 2. So we are going to get t for string s, add 1 to it. So initially it was 0. We are going to have -1 here. And for string t, at index 2, we can see that we have r. Okay, sorry, this is not going to subtract 1 because this was on string t. So yeah, it's going to add 1 to it, so it's going to be 1. And we're going to get r, so subtract 1 from r, so it's going to subtract 1 from it, it's going to be 0. So the for loop execution, so our for loop execution is complete. and at the end of the for loop we can see inside our mapper we have 1 0, t is going to be 1, a is 0, c is going to be -1. So not all of our values here is 0. So that means uh, both of the strings s and t does not have the same frequency of character, so it's not going to be an anagram. So let's just code it out, maybe that would be a little easier to understand. Okay, let's introduce our unordered TRD map. The key of the unordered map is going to be character, value is going to be integer, we're going to call it mapper, like frequency mapper. Okay, now let's say inside our for loop I is going to be 0, I is going to be less than s dot size. It doesn't matter which size we take, both of the size are the same as okay, I plus plus. Now what we are going to do is we are going to add 1 to the character of s for each index. Okay, and we are going to subtract the character of t for each index. Okay, and now after the for loop execution is complete, now we should have the final result, and if we have the same frequency of characters for both like inside the mapper, the value of all the characters should be 0, and that would tell us that the frequency of all the characters were same, and that means that it's going to be an anagram. So we are going to check if all the values of the characters are 0 or not. So for const auto key val of frequency mapper. So if any of the value is not 0, we are going to return false. So if any of the value is not 0, that means the frequency of characters were not same, and if all of the values have the same frequency, we are going to return true. Return. Okay, so I guess everything is alright here. Let's just submit this code. Okay, so it got accepted. Okay, sometimes it performs like better than this. Let's submit it again and see if it works. Okay, now it takes 2 milliseconds and it's 56% of the solution. Okay, I don't know, it should perform better than this. It should be working at 0 millisecond. Maybe something's wrong with LeetCode, but we can say that this solution is much better than our first solution. Yeah, every time I want people to see something that it doesn't work like as expected. Like it should have been on the it should have worked with 0 millisecond. Anyways, but this is actually a better solution than the other problems, than the previous solution. So this was a solution for C++. If you are interested to see other solution, like I will solve this problem for Ruby, Python, and JavaScript. So if you're interested, you can stay, or maybe this is it for you. Okay, let's see. Let's solve this in Python. Okay, maybe this should work better in Python. Okay, so if length of s not equals to length of t, then we will return false. Okay, now let's initialize our mapper. Fake mapper equals to default date. So we're just initializing our default value for our mapper. It's going to be integer, so it's going to start from 0. Now for I in range of length of s, again it doesn't matter, we can take length of t because both of the length are same. So now we are going to add 1 to the characters of s and subtract 1 from the characters of t. So if we add 1, we are going to get mapper of s of I plus equal 1 and minus if in the case of t. Okay, now finally we are going to see if all of the values, all val is equals to 0 for val in freq mapper dot values. So if all the values of frequency mapper is 0, then it returns true, that means it is an anagram, otherwise it's going to return false. Okay, I think this should work. Let's just run it once. Okay, it got accepted. Let's submit the code and hope that it gives us a better time. Okay, so okay, it beats 95% of the solution, so this is a good solution. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Next we will solve this in Ruby. Okay, so the like approach is same, like return false if s dot length not equals to t dot length. Okay, now let's freq mapper equals to hash dot new with initial value 0. Now you can run it for s dot length or t dot length, doesn't matter. s dot length dot times 2 I and okay, freq mapper of s of I plus equal 1, and for t of I we're going to subtract 1. Okay, now finally we're going to return, like we're going to see if all the values of the frequency mapper, all the values of the characters are 0 or not. So freq mapper dot values dot all val equal 0. So yeah, let's just run it once. Okay, submit the code. It gives us a runtime error. undefined return. Oh, sorry about that. So how did it pass here? I spelled return wrong. I don't get it. It shouldn't be passing in this case either. Anyways, let's submit it again. This should work. Yeah. So yeah, this is working. I don't know why it passed the first time here. Like, did I even run it properly? Let's run it again. I have spelled return wrong here and still it's getting accepted. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, but yeah, it works here. So now let's move on to the JavaScript solution. Okay, for JavaScript, it's going to be the same. Like, first check the length. If length is not same, p dot length return false. Initialize the mapper equals to empty hash for let I equals 0, I less than s dot length I plus plus. Now freq mapper of s of I, the value of freq mapper of s of I is going to be the value of freq mapper of s of I. If it's undefined, it's going to take our default value 0 and add 1 to it, and if it's not undefined, it's going to take the value and add 1 to it. Okay, now let's do the same thing for t. Okay, and subtract 1 from it. Okay, now sorry about that. Now we have to check val of object values of freq mapper. If all the value, if any of the value is not 0, then return false, otherwise return true. Let's format the code. Let's run it once. Okay, it got accepted. Okay, so yeah, this was the solution for JavaScript. This is all I got for you. Anyways, I hope you guys liked it, and if I made any mistakes or maybe I could improve some of the stuff, please let me know in the comments. Thank you.